Shalom, welcome to YAHAWADAH for joining today. We're about to get started in just a bit. Just go ahead and post these to my other channels real quick. And get started. So today, Shalom Akim, YAHAWADAH for joining today. So today we're going to actually talk about the coming lying alien deception, which we're starting to see be pushed up across Esau's news today. But before we get started and go into that topic, let's go and give all honor and glory and praises to Yahawah, Ba'Shem, Yahawashi, Ba'Shem, Qadash, Barak Yahawah, Barak Yahawashi, Barak Yahawah, Barak Yahawashi, Barak Yahawah, Barak Yahawashi, Qadash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who are the house of David reborn again in this generation. And shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today were known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage, we were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. So again, like I just mentioned, today's topic, we're gonna go into the coming alien deception, which is about to come upon the whole earth. But as we can see here in the news with recent revelations or recent stories, that it's going to first start here in America, right? Of course it will, because why? Because this is these Edomites' grand lie, okay? Not the, well, I shouldn't say grand lie, but it's one of their biggest lies that they're about to tell upon the whole world, okay? Now, before we get started, let's go and read this. This is St. John, verse 8 and 44. Ye are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh the lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. Okay, so right now, the current world is about to go into a grand deception. Okay, a deception that you know that we're not alone, right? First of all, right? Because first of all, we're not alone, right? We've known this. You know, if you read the Bible, you understand that humanity isn't out here in space, just alone, right? No, we're surrounded by other beings. Those being the angels, the left-hand angels referred to as demons, spirits, right? And also the Most High, okay? But you see, if you go by these devils, these Edomites, the people who run the world, known as the Caucasian race, if you go by their understanding and their teachings, you believe that we've been alone all up until recently, when they've come out officially. Well, I shouldn't say officially, but you had a top level military corporal come out on I think it was Live Nation, which really was started off as a tech news agency, came out and actually admitted that the U.S. is basically that there are aliens out there, right? Not only are there aliens out there, but they have a crashed vehicle of these aliens in their possession, and they've been working for decades to reverse engineer this. And not only do they have the wreckage and technology of these alien crafts that have crashed, but they also have the bodies of these so-called aliens. Okay. Now, again, this is one of Esau's main lies. Okay. And another story we're going to go into, which just recently came out this week, right? Along with this grand revelations from this military corporal, which when you look at his interview, is totally fucking fake, man. He was giving off vibes of lying. He was closing his eyes for longer than a second. Basically, you know, with the shit-eating grin on his face, you couldn't really believe this guy, right? Because everything that came from his countenance and everything just basically just screamed government psyop. Okay, so the point being is you have that story there where you have supposed this whistleblower, this military corporal who's a whistleblower coming out to spill the beans that the government has this technology and we aren't alone and there are aliens here. And now I think I first seen this yesterday. Okay, this was but apparently this whole event happened on May 1st, where a family, an Issacharite family in Nevada, that an alien fell into their backyard, crash landed there, right? And they seen it, they describe it and everything. Of course, there's no video, even though everybody has fucking a camera, right? They have videos of them standing, looking into the backyard, but nobody went and got a picture of the video of this supposed alien, right? Which, again, he's coming out now, and not only that, but the news is picking this up. So again, and not only just local Nevada news, but worldwide news is picking, nationwide news is picking up. So again, that's another hallmark that this is Esau's his psyop, right? He brings out these stories, and these stories go fake viral across his news organizations, right? And there's no fucking proof, right? The corporal who came out, the whistleblower who came out says he can't show us images of these spacecraft because it's top secret, and he'd be violating the top secret documents, right? But I thought he was a whistleblower, right? And then this other family, I honestly don't think they're behind it, but I think they're victims of a psyop themselves. Okay, now what was that? Well, we'll get into it in a little bit. I'm going to read the article and we'll get into that, but let's go ahead and continue reading the scriptures and break down how, first of all, these Edomites, the Caucasian race, they're not going to shoot down a chariot of the Lord. Okay, these chariots cannot be shot down. They're not flesh and blood. They're not physical objects like planes or cars or anything like that needs to be maintained or can have bullets shot through it. No, these are spiritual vehicles, if you call them that, where the aliens transport their bodies, or if you want to call them that, where basically they transport themselves, in and out of our dimensions. Okay, but again, Esau, with years and decades, it's now been 4 decades since the 80s that he's been pushing the whole aliens, outer space narrative, right? Back when E.T. and Star Wars and all these, Encounter of the Third Kind, all these different movies have been coming out all in the 80s. And why is that? Well, because Esau, these Edomites, the Caucasian race, they've known that they have to work on the minds of people and get them accustomed, get them acclimated to the idea that there is going to be an alien invasion, right? And that these coming beings are going to be evil and wicked, scary looking. But see, what they're doing is that they're ultimately trying to get us ready for a demon invasion, okay? Because what we're seeing right now in our world now with the whole trans movement, the increase of just wickedness on the streets, of violence and everything, what that is, these are the spiritual demons, the spiritual entities that were made for destruction that these Edomites have invoked into our world, right? This is why the world has increased in all this wickedness. But what's going to come next is going to be the physical spirits, the physical demons, right? That are going to actually manifest to people in the world, and they're going to see. And that's what I believe this family in Nevada actually saw. It was an actual demon. Okay? But again, before we get into that, let's go and read this. In 2 Corinthians 11 and 14, it says, "And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light." So there you go. So that right there shows you, hey, Shalom, Water for joining. So like that right there tells you, man, that Satan himself will transform himself into an angel of light, meaning that he could come in a deceptive manner. And if Satan himself comes in a deceptive manner, his people, who he's appointed to rule over this world, will also come in likewise manner, right? What do the scriptures say? So is the king, so are the people. So these devils, these Edomites, we already know that they flipped the book and they've started to call themselves the chosen people, right? By taking on the heritage of the true Jews back in 700 AD, when the Khazars converted to a religion based off of the heritage of the so-called Negroes, right? Called and referred to this as Judaism. We also know that they've gone through and changed all the images of all the saints that were created back in the Byzantine and the Holy Roman Empire period, basically after 400 AD all the way up to about 1200 AD. All those images with the black saints have, for the most part, all been hidden amongst Europe. Now the only ones that remain are the ones in the Russian territories where they had no control over the destruction of those images. Okay. Now again, so just like they've changed the images there, they're now trying to change the images of what the angels look like, right? They're now, and again, you had a famous Satanist, a cultist. You know, that's what they refer to themselves as. Because again, occultists are just Satanists, right? Because they all goes back to the same wicked magic and understanding, right? That came from before Adam and Eve, and that the Adamites were practicing, right? The Atlanteans. Okay, these people here, they would sacrifice animals, people, and they would perform what we would know today as pagan rituals, right? But these were, for the most part, all just understandings of that time, which again has crept into our world. And these Edomites, these Caucasian race, they're in love with that, okay? And they're all about it. This is why everything that we have in our society, every holiday, Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day, all these things all have to do with, all have pagan backgrounds. Because why? Because we are living in a pagan society. Even though everybody likes to pretend, the society that is, likes to pretend that this is a Christian nation and that we follow Christian beliefs here, but they don't, right? They're far from the Lord and the Bible's true teaching. This is why when you go to places like these churches here, they'll read a 1-2 scriptures totally out of context. They don't actually go into what it actually means, and then they'll wax poetically for about an hour or two, and at the end they'll basically ask you for money and then feed you ham sandwiches at the end of service. Okay, because this place has nothing to do with the truth of the Bible, and it's all basically a kingdom of lies. Now back to what I was talking about how these devils are going to portray themselves as the angels of light, right? They're going to present themselves as being the good guys, when in fact they're actually the bad guys. Okay. Now that being said, these aliens that they're going to bring into our world shortly, which I'm pretty sure they're already here, these are in fact the actual left-hand angels. Okay, these are the demons that Esau, these Edomites, work with on the left-hand side. Again, when they perform their witchcraft, their paganism, and they do all these rituals, what they're doing is they're actually speaking to the left-hand angels, the angels which are dealing with them, right? And what have these angels done for these Edomites? Well, they've given them the knowledge that they currently have, the power that they hold. They've provided these Edomites with everything that they want, right? But again, here's the thing: these Edomites believe that these angels and Satan himself, they believe that they've rebelled against God, right? That's where you get this whole Prometheus mythology, right? Where basically Satan or Prometheus rebelled against the gods and came down to humanity and basically gave humanity fire, right? The Masons refer to this as the how do they refer to it? Well, they basically say that the Freemasons say that God, Yahawah, who is the true God of the Bible, right, the only begotten Father, they say that he is the bad guy, and that Satan is actually the good guy who freed us from the tyranny of the Most High. See, that's the fucking wickedness, right? They're trying to turn everything around, and through their, through the leadership of these Edomites, right, going all up to the Rawchaas, the Habsburgs, the DuPonts, all these people that actually deal with these spirits, deal with Satan. They're being told a lie. They're being told that they can prevail and overcome not only the God himself, but also us, the Israelites, the children of God, who he has chosen and who the Lord has promised immortality to, right? And this is why they're doing everything they're doing right now, right? By trying to defile all flesh upon earth with those snake bites, by trying to get everybody to take on a transhumanist lifestyle, right? So that way they would be the only so-called humans upon the earth, and everybody else would be a transhuman, right? We would no longer be pure anymore, right? That's what these devils are really trying to do, right? Because again, they're gonna try. If they could, they would kill all of us off if they could, if they had that power, but they don't. So what they're trying to do then instead is disqualify us from the salvation. And how do they do that? By defiling us, by making us pledge allegiance to them, right? To make us their property, by having us take that mark of the beast in your right hand or in your forehead, or defiling our bodies by taking those snake bites, which modify your genome. Okay, that's another way these devils are going about it. Okay, so that being said, these devils are bringing forth a new concept, a new notion that these aliens are coming into our world. And again, as far as how they're going to play this out, we're going to have to wait and see how Esau's going to do this. But there's some people who are saying that these aliens are going to be seen as a threat, and they're going to use them to scare the people into thinking that we got to weaponize space to protect ourselves against them, which is what I think they're going to, some aspect of it's going to be, right? And there's another part of the narrative saying that these aliens are going to come here and basically pretend like they're actually helping us from a bigger, worse fate that's coming, which is another alien invasion, right? Basically the same narrative that was in Independence Day 2, where you first had the first alien race come and then try to help out humanity to warn them against the next coming alien invasion, which was the even worse alien invasion, right? But ultimately, the point being is that this alien assumption that Esau is going to bring forth, it's a straight up lie, and we got to basically just not be involved in it. Now, so far, if you looked at it, it's a bunch of smoke and mirrors, right? You got a military corporal saying all these things, right? Saying that they have the craft, they have the bodies, that he admits that the government has been, in knowledge of this for the longest time, but he can't bring out any evidence, no craft, no pictures, nothing. And then on the other hand, you have freaking this family in Nevada who says an alien fell into their background, in their backyard. They called the cops, and there's all these images of a bunch of nothing, right? They don't have images. They haven't even made drawings of what this alien looked like, right? And it's all it is a bunch of media hype so far. And what they're doing, this is Esau's MO, right? To try to get the people hyped up and basically get them to bite on that bait that they're putting out there, right? But again, for the most part, when you look at everything that's happened, it's a bunch of bullshit. There's no evidence, and ultimately we understand that these devils are going to try to bring forth a fake alien invasion. But again, this is and again, this was testified by the assistant director of Wernher von Braun, the Nazi scientist who created NASA. His assistant, Dr. What was her name? Her name was like Dr. Colleen something, but basically she's a doctor, science doctor, gray hair, and she's come out and basically told us what Wernher von Braun told her, that the leaders of this world are going to go through certain stages, and they're going to basically, eventually, at the end, they're going to bring out asteroids and alien and fake alien invasions to trick the world into developing a weaponized space system, which will ultimately give them power over the entire world. Okay, but that's just the way that these devils work. Now, let me go ahead and read this article that I got of that family in Nevada, who say that there was an alien that crashed into their backyard, and again, I believe this is going to be the first of many coming testimonies of these beings coming to show up. Okay, but again, this is why I'm saying I don't think that family is involved in this, because again, it's pretty much the whole family, and who's saying this, who's giving these testimonies on news and to the cops. But the thing is, it's I believe they were simply just victims of Esau's trickery, right? And again, Esau's working with these left-hand angels. So again, I really do believe there was a creature in their backyard. It wasn't an alien though. It was, if anything, it was a demon. And this demon did what it had to do. It showed up, scared the shit out of them, and then it took right off. Okay. So it tells you here. This is from the Los Angeles Times. It says, the title reads, "They're 100% not human. Las Vegas police investigate reports of extraterrestrial sightings." It says, and this is from the 9th, which is yesterday, right? Yeah, yesterday. Right? It says, "Big shiny eyes, towering nearly 10 feet tall, 100% not human aliens." That's the 911 call that came into dispatchers last month from a Las Vegas area resident reporting extraterrestrial life in his backyard, just about an hour after local police witnessed an object falling from the sky. Okay, so there he goes. See, so this is a narrative that's starting to be pushed. And how does Esau do this? He starts to give it out in little piecemeals, right? He puts it in his newspapers, his TV shows. He lets using his vast social media propaganda, because again, remember, under Obama in 2012, it became legal for the U.S. military industrial complex to be able to push out propaganda to the U.S. citizenry. Okay, so ever since 2012 came, that's where you started seeing Operation Mockingbird, or all these different news agencies just putting out tons of false news, fake news. Okay, this is why news since 2012 has just gone to shit. This is why a lot of people have just lost all trust in the mainstream media, because of how the mainstream media has stopped becoming a news system, but instead it's now become a propaganda system. Okay, so back to this. It says the paranormal investigation by police did not turn up any answers. Of course it didn't, because again, this is a psyop. It says, and again, the way it works too is that the people, the family that was affected here, and the cops, they may not even have been in on it, but the events that took place would be enough to get this thing to create a report, a news investigation, right? Have these people go out and say, "Hey, I seen this," and basically then you have the insiders at the news stations or the newspapers go out and try to basically gather everything that these people are actually saying happened. Okay, and then the news organizations then amplify this message all over the world, or the United States, and then this thing gets picked up and it goes viral. And again, and if you've watched Real AF blogcast, it's on YouTube. You should look it up if you don't watch that blogcast. It's called Real AF, right? Andy Ferreira, he's like this motivational supplement seller guy. Very awesome guy, right? When you get into him, speaks a lot of truth. So I recommend watching him. But he had a I think it was like 2 weeks ago, where he came out and they actually showed that there's a study that took place that showed that Google and the mainstream media have basically been manipulating the people ever since 2012, right? Which is what? when the government propaganda was allowed to be pushed upon the people. Okay, and how did they find this? Well, they started looking at certain topics, right? Topics like transphobia, Islamophobia, and white privilege, and all these different terms, which has turned America into a hotbed of just people being offended, right? They're showing how all these terms have basically been pushed upon upon society, which then has in turn has made society more angrier, right? Again, and why is that? Well, because the people here in America, they don't fucking read anything. They don't go out and research things for them. All they do is basically stay hypnotized to these freaking TV boxes, and they just regurgitate what they hear, right? If it's not the Lakers, it's this music show. If it's not this music video, it's a movie they've seen. If it's not the movie they've seen, it's a TV show. And all these things are just constantly regurgitated by the people, okay? Because people, again, they've lost the ability for common. They've lost the ability to basically think and break down things, right? All common sense, for the most part, has gone away now, right? So the point being is that now you have a society that has been inundated with be it whatever, Ukraine, 9/11, terrorism, BLM, and all these things, right? It's a constant push of propaganda to the people. Well, now we're going to start seeing is a push of alien extraterrestrials coming to our world, into our world. What you're going to start seeing, this start to get pick up little by little. All right, continuing, he says, on May 1st, 2023, at approximately 12:29 a.m., Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department dispatch received a call about a suspicious situation. The Las Vegas Police Department said in an email statement, officer conducted a preliminary investigation and closed the event as unfounded. At around 11:50 p.m. on April 30th, body camera footage from an officer with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police captured a bright glowing object cutting through the sky, according to the local TV channel 8. It says about 40 minutes later, a local resident placed a call to report that something 100% not human was staring at him from his backyard. Shortly after, he and his family saw an object fall from the sky, the station reported. There's like an 8-foot person beside it. Another one's inside us, and it has big eyes, and it's looking at us, and it's still there. The caller, who said that he and his family had seen something fall from the sky, told the dispatcher, "I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually, we're terrified," the caller said. Local TV channel 8 News Now first reported the story and obtained the video and audio from the weird evening, including the 9/11 call and body camera footage. This dispatcher clarified the situation with the caller, careful to choose the right words. So there's two subjects in the backyard, the dispatcher asked. Correct, and they're very large, the caller said. They're like 8, 9, 10 foot. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes. They have big eyes, like I can't explain it. And big mouth. They're shiny eyes, and they're human. It should say, and they're not human. They're 100% not human. It says 2 officers responded to the caller's home, KLAS reported. I'm so nervous right now, one of the responder officers said while en route to the house. I have butterflies, bro. He continues to say that people saw a shooting star, and now these people say they're alien, that there's aliens in their backyard. So right there, that right there was probably a planted message, right? Because notice they're constantly saying the same things, that they saw this object falling from the sky, and now somebody's reporting there's an animal. So what these devils are trying to do, it seems like they're trying to tie those two events together, and so that way it leads you, without them telling you, that it leads you to believe that, hey, these are the aliens that must have fell down in that comet, right? That's what they're ultimately trying to tell you, right? Or at least lead you to that assumption. It says, officers interviewed the family on the front lawn. What did you see? One of the officers asked. It was like a big creature, one witness said, adding, it was around 10 feet tall. The officers told them about the incident his colleagues saw just before the call in, talking about the comet that they seen falling from sky. It says, I'm not going to BS you guys. This is the police officer talking to the family. I'm not going to BS you guys. One of my partners said that they saw something fall out of the sky too, the officer said. So that's why I'm kind of curious. Did you see anything land in your backyard? A man in a robe, which is the father in this case, a man in a robe said some of his family members saw a big something with light plummet from above. Police continued to investigate that evening, asking neighbors if they too had witnessed any unusual objects fall from the sky. KLS reported the investigation lasted for several days. The Department of Defense is tracking more than 800 cases of unidentified aerial phenomenon, often called UFOs, from the past 27 years, according to government officials, who added that only 2 to 5% of cases can be explained. So, you see, there you go. So this is the narrative that they're going to start pushing upon the world. Right? That there's aliens out there, and they're now starting to visit the world. Right? They just so happen to be only visiting the United States, right? But again, see, and out of all the time, it just happens to be now when we're in the midst of the Great Reset. So you see these devils, they're trying to make this spontaneous, and they're trying to basically bring it out little by little through different channels. Ultimately, what they're doing is they're revealing their hand. They're showing that they're basically pulling out all the stops to bring forward this new world order that they're trying to bring in. And what were we warned about that it's going to be one of their last steps? Is that they're going to basically weaponize space with bringing forth this fake alien invasion. Okay? But again, what does the Bible tell you? That these aliens are in fact going to be the angels working with these, what we refer to as the elites or the Illuminati, right? Who are in fact, they are the rulers of the world, right? These are the same people who are seeking to destroy humanity, kill off the majority of us, and ultimately reign themselves forever. But why is that? Well, because they understand that they're the Edomites and they've only been given a particular time to rule, okay? And they understand that they have to basically disqualify and ultimately kill off as many Israelites as possible for them to retain onto that mantle of rulership. The Bible tells you that ain't gonna happen, right? The Lord's gonna come in and basically throw a monkey wrench into their plans. Now next, let's go ahead and get into, because one thing is here I am telling you how right now these left-hand angels are working with these Edomites to push forward all these agendas, and ultimately are going to be working with them to bring forth this alien deception. And again, like I said, these supposed aliens, these are demons, right? So what do I have to substantiate that? Well, we're going to read a story, a historical record of an event that happened pretty much the exact same way, where you had the left-hand angels, agree with the Lord to come down to earth to basically trick one of the wicked kings of Israel, so that way he could be caught in a strong delusion and fall and ultimately meet his end, right? And this is the story of the downfall of King Ahab. This is so here we go. So this right here is Ezekiel. I'm sorry. Yes, Ezekiel prophet. This is actually the prophet Micaiah, Micaiah. Okay, so right here, he was asked to give a prophecy, or basically to give advice to the king, as far as what he should do as far as him going to war and stuff, right? And right here, the prophet is telling him what he's seen, how he's seen that the Lord had basically that he basically that he was setting up Ahab and to fall, right? And let's read what this prophet said that he's seen in heaven, right? The vision that the Lord gave him. This is 1 Kings 20 and 19. Actually, I think it's 22 and 19. And he said, "Hear thou therefore the word of Yahawah. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven standing by him, on his right hand and on his left." So right here, the prophet is saying that he's seen basically the Most High Yahawah sitting on the throne, and he's seeing the right hand angels, Archangel Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and all these other angels, and the left hand angels, right? Satan and all the other left hand angels, which we refer to as demons. Okay, all there. They were all there in the court of the Most High, okay? So this right here shows you, this is a cut to all those people who say that Satan rebelled against God and was kicked out of heaven. No, man, he was there with the Lord, because again, the Lord does both good and bad, okay? He takes care of good and evil, okay? And the thing is he has angels to handle the good, and he has angels to handle the evil. And in this case, in the Lord's court, by his throne, were both the angels of the right side, the angels of good, and the angels on the left side, the angels of evil, okay? And he says, verse 20, "And Yahawah said, Who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner." So right here, all these angels were all giving the Lord, some ideas of what they would do, how they would go down to earth, and how they would basically trick Ahab to die in this battle at Ramoth Gilead, right? And they were giving him all these little scenarios how they would do it. So he says, verse 21, "And there came a fourth spirit, and stood before Yahawah, and said, I will persuade him. And Yahawah said unto him, Wherewith?" Right? How are you going to do this? Right? How are you going to trick this king of Israel so that way he falls and dies in battle? And he said, "I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets." And he said, God that is, "Thou shalt persuade him, and prevail also. Go forth and do so." Right? So once this left-hand angel, right, basically told the Most High how he was going to trick Ahab, how he was going to basically he would lie to Ahab's prophets, right, to tell him that he would win and he would do all these great things in that battle, but it would ultimately lead him to his death. What did the Most High say? He said, "You're going to succeed, and go ahead and go do it." Right? So the Most High ordained it to happen. Verse 23, "Now therefore, behold, Yahawah hath put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these thy prophets, and Yahawah hath spoken evil concerning thee." So right there, the prophet was warning the king Ahab, saying, "Look, I know you believe all your prophets who have told you you're going to win in this battle and you're going to do valiantly, but I'm telling you that the Most High showed me a vision, showing me that he's deceived you, and that he sent a left-hand angel to deceive all your prophets." Right? And that's exactly what happened, or what's happening right now amongst these Edomites, amongst these Caucasians who are bringing forth great reset, which includes the these false wars and all this underhanded management of the world, and also this coming alien deception that they're going to try to perpetrate upon humanity, right? They believe that if they could do all this, they'll be able to prevail and win, right? By how? By destroying the children of God, that being us Israelites, the Negro, Latino, Native Americans, and also by setting themselves up in a way where they can fight against the Lord. Hey, Shalom, brother. What for joining? Adam Nana, Yahawashi Mashai, Barak, a thumb to you brothers that are joining and are here listening. So there you go. So again, this right here is an example how the Lord will send wicked left-hand angels or spirits, demons, to mess you up, right? In this case, we understand that he's doing this to these Edomites, right? This is why they're witches and their warlocks on the left-hand side really do think they're going to prevail, and this is why they're doing all that wickedness, right? You got all these people out there, coming full out now, showing their wickedness to the world, showing the world that they're totally for Satan, and just look at Lady Gaga, for example, man. She's out there on these late night TV shows talking about she swears to Satan that this and that and all that type of shit, right? Thinking that it's okay to bring this out, right? You have all these alphabet people, right, out there, pushing out straight up pedophilia, right? Thinking that they're gonna win and that God can be mocked and all this stuff. See, the Lord right now is just setting these people up to be destroyed. And how is he doing it? Well, he's giving them enough rope so they can hang themselves, right? So he's letting them go on and do everything that they're doing now. But what does the scripture say? For the Lord's judgment is not slack, right? Because what does it say? It says because judgment is not speedy, therefore is it set in the heart of man to do wickedness. So you see, right now the Lord is simply just letting these Edomites continue on and just continue to do their wickedness. And what that's doing is that's entrapping a lot of these other Israelites, the Negro, Latino, Native Americans, to go along with them and do wickedness in church. And what does that remind us of? Well, let's go to what is this? Judges 2:20. Because again, ultimately, right, what this is the Lord is testing us. It tells you, it says, this is Judges 2:20. And the anger of Yahawah was hot against Israel, and he said, because that this people hath transgressed my covenant, which I commanded their fathers, and have not hearkened unto my voice, I also will not henceforth drive out any from before them of the nations which Joshua left when he died. Okay? So the Lord has left all these other nations to be here, to be around us. Now, why did he do this? Well, this is going to prove my point here. That through them I may prove Israel whether they will keep the ways of Yahawah to walk therein as their fathers did keep it or not. Therefore, Yahawah left those nations without driving them out hastily, neither delivered he them into the hands of Joshua. So all these people out here, that are all these other nations that are pushing these abominable doctrines, these abominable ways of life upon our people, and a lot of our people are fucking falling into this, man. Look at RuPaul, right? His ass got dragged right into that lifestyle, and now he's become even more abominable and wicked than these Edomites who pushed it through. Look at what was her name? Gloria Steinem, the lady back in the 70s, who's now been proven to be a CIA operative, right? She was a CIA asset who introduced feminism into the world, right? And namely targeted it to the so-called black woman, right? And Latino woman too, because they got it just like the Southern Kingdom women did, right? And all our people started to go after the doctrines of these wicked nations, and what happened? They've fallen away from the ways of the Lord, right? And the Lord, in all his knowledge and wisdom, he's done this so that way he can ultimately test our people out. And a lot of our people have failed, right? And ultimately we know that 2/3 of our people are going to be destroyed because of this. What does that mean? That means that two out of every 3 Negro, Latino, Native Americans are not going to make it to the kingdom. They're going to be destroyed and they're going to die here in the coming wars the famines, the skirmishes, the riots, and ultimately the nuclear missiles that are going to fall upon America and the Western powers, the beast, right? NATO and all the allies of America, right? And why is that? Well, that's because these Israelites, the 2/3 of them, failed to wake up and understand that they've been duped and that they've been following the wicked ways of this world and ultimately following the ways of the devil and his people, that being the Edomites of the world. Okay? So there you go. So that's what's ultimately happening. To these Edomites who are being tricked into believing that they have a chance to come up on the Israelites and God if they perform certain acts, take certain actions against the world, the Lord, and His people, right? But it's also taking and deceiving the Israelites who are falling into it, right? Falling into their deceptions. The brother Adamnana brings out Jeremiah 2:13. For my people have committed 2 evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of their living waters, and hewed them out cisterns, broken cisterns that could hold no waters. Beautiful, right? You see, because this truth of the Bible is basically likened onto water, right? Waters, flowing waters, right? And our people have gone away, and what they've done is they've using the doctrines of the world, using their own knowledge, they've made their own cisterns that hold their own reservoirs of waters. What are the reservoirs of water? It is the doctrine of this world. It's the LGBT lifestyle, the notion that we're all one people. We all, we all bleed red and shit, right? All these different things, the Christianity, Jehovah's Witness, Kemet, all these different doctrines that are man-made, our people have surrounded themselves with and have filled their cisterns, their water reserves with. But again, not realizing that water that they've basically have stored up and they're basing their lives off of is basically poisonous, right? That ultimately is going to lead to their death. And why is that? Because the thing is our people, they don't have a foundation. And why is that? Because these devils, these other nations who we are under captivity to, they've taken away the truth of the Bible. And how do they do that? By setting up harlot houses like this, by setting up false churches out there that misteach our people of what the Bible actually is, right? They've taught our people a bunch of bullshit regarding the Bible, making them think that the Bible is really what they're teaching in these religious houses, and ultimately what that does is it makes our people realize that it's a bunch of bullshit, and our people, being so naive to what's going on, don't realize that what they've been told the Bible actually they're so naive that they believe what the churches are teaching is actually what's in the Bible, right? And the funny thing is that what's in the Bible is nothing like to what these churches are actually teaching, right? Because again, the Bible and religion are totally not the same thing. Even though religion purports to be coming from the Bible, it's not. It simply just uses certain scriptures and it totally takes them out of context, right? But that's why the Lord has now raised up the apostles and brothers like me and all the other elders out there who are teaching the Spirit. And again, why is that? Well, that's because we're coming to the end of this kingdom, right? We're coming to the end times where the Lord is about to destroy this kingdom, this whole world kingdom, this empire of the Edomites, and He's going to wake up us Israelites. It's time for our punishment to be over, and it's time for us to wake up and redeem and basically recapture our heritage and our promise, which is to be the true rulers of the world. But again, to do that, we first have to get ready. We have to cleanse ourselves and prepare ourselves for the wedding, right? What does it tell you in the parable, the parable of the wedding feast, where we had to basically get our garments, right? The garments being the knowledge you get from the Bible, right? That the knowledge that you get into your head, that's your wedding garments, okay? And once you build up your wedding garments, then you'll be ready for the wedding. What is the wedding? The end of the world, where the Lord's going to come in, judge everybody, and see who is ready and who is not ready. The brother Adam Nana brings out Zechariah 8 and 9. Thus saith Yahawah B'Shem Yashai of hosts, let your hands be strong, yea, that ye that hear in these days these words by the mouth of the prophets, which were in the days that the foundation of the house of Yahawah, Bashem Yashai of hosts, was laid, that the temple might be built. Beautiful, right? So there you go. So the Lord he's even told us in prophecy, right? That that the Lord will eventually bring back the prophets upon the face of the earth to wake up our people, to give out that clarion call, to call you back to your true heritage, call you back to our true glory, and to prepare ourselves for what's really coming, right? But again, only a few of our people are gonna hear this, man. And why is that? Well, because again, the Lord is not dealing with everybody, because not everybody has gone the right way. 2/3 of our people, right? 2 out of every 3 Negro, Latino, Native Americans have polluted their ways and followed these devils, right? Because they've loved the lust of the flesh, they've loved wickedness, or they love lustfulness, or not say lustfulness. What's the term? Slothfulness, right? They're fucking lazy, right? They don't want to read a book. They don't want to look into something. They just simply want to, give their opinions and make their mind up before they even heard the matter, right? So next, let's go ahead and read this. This is 2 Thessalonians 2:9. It says, even him whose coming is after the workings of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, right? This is talking about the Edomites, right? The Edomites, who are the children of Satan, who Satan has appointed to be rulers over the world. And why is that? Why are these Edomites, these Caucasians, right now ruling over the world? Because it was given to them by their forefather Isaac, our forefather too, right? That they would be in rulership, before we get into rulership, okay? And this, you can read about this in Genesis 25, when it talks about the birth of Esau and Jacob. And you can eventually read down, so you can read what Esau's blessing was, that he would live off of the fatness of the earth, and his dwelling would be the dew of heaven, and that he would live by his sword, right? Meaning he would rule the world through his weaponry, okay? Next, let's continue. Verse 10. And with all deceivableness and unrighteousness, actually, let me reread that part 9. Even him whose coming is after the workings of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders. What are some of these lying wonders? This false alien invasion, Project Bluebeam, all these lies, right, which we're seeing right now. The media pushing out that military corporal's testimony about how he came out talking about how they have crashed alien technology and they have all this information and they even got the bodies of these aliens. A bunch of bullshit, right? Or the family who said that aliens crashed into their backyard. So they may believe something like that happened. That's a bunch of bullshit, man. If anything, at the worst, it's demons that did go into their backyards, appeared, and ultimately have given those people that illusion that they came from outer space, when they simply probably just operated, did what they had to do, then disappeared, and those people were given that conclusion that, oh, they see something fall from the sky, which could have been a flare, could have been anything, right? And what it was a fucking demon that did all that just to deceive their asses, right? But again, what does it say? With all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved, right? So this right here is talking about the 2/3 of our people. 2/3 of our people who are being told, no, these are demons, they're not aliens. They're going to be like, no, man, these are going to be the people who are going to be their ego is going to be so filled up with pride that they can't believe that they've been lied to and manipulated. So they're just going to continue to believe that deception, that these are aliens, and that space is filled with thousands of different aliens like Star Wars or like Star Trek, and that they know better, right? Because they've seen so many episodes of these shows, or they've read all these fictional books, right? So because what does it say? Because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause, God shall send them strong delusions, that they should believe a lie. So these people here who are going forth, who are going to fall for this alien deception, who have fallen for the snake bite agenda, who have fallen for the world is too crowded agenda, for that this world needs new rulership agenda, that type of shit, like where they gotta go now give up their sovereignty to the World Economic Forum, all that right there. These people have been given over to a lie, a great deception, right? That verse 12, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Because you see, there's a lot of people out here who are what's referred to as social justice warriors or virtue signalers, right? These are the people who are out there protesting for immigrant rights. But when you ask them, well, would you want to house some immigrants in your houses? They'll be like, you know what? I can't do that. I don't have any space, right? Or, they're basically hypocrites, right? They're out there telling us not to fly different places. Don't buy plastic bags and all that stuff. All the while they're on their fucking private jet planes flying all over the world, right? These are the people who have loved the lie, and what is this? And again, and had pleasure in unrighteousness, right? All these people who are right now following along with the Green New Deal, that really is just veiled communism coming through with a new mask on it, right? All these people pushing forward the alphabet agenda, right? Which again, it's just veiled pedophilia, right? Now we're starting to see it to the point where there's even alphabet groups that are against it. What do they call them? It's called Gays Against Groomers, GAG, right? You can look it up. There's a lot of these alphabet people who aren't down for this, right? They've seen that their movement has been co-opted, just like these elites will always co-opt a lot of these grassroots movements and will take it on to basically push their own narrative. And why is that? Well, because you see these devils in power, these Edomites, these elites, they always do that. Because why? Because they fund these little grassroots movements, they get them up into power, and eventually they start maneuvering them however they want, and eventually they then take over, right? And those groups are then cast by the wayside, and then these Edomites, these elites, then go on to use them for whatever they need them for. A perfect example of this is the BLM movement, right? When BLM first came out, everybody thought that they were going to be here, pushing forward social justice for all the so-called Negroes and helping them, right? But also, what was it for? It was to push forward transsexual rights, right? And it was led by and to bring forward communist ideology, right? This is why right now the Judah, the Judite community has discovered this. This is why if you talk to them, they all know that's a bunch of bullshit, man. This is why BLM has filed bankruptcy, and this is why nobody is down with them anymore, because they've shown their colors. They haven't even given George Floyd's family any money. For the most part, they basically have taken it and embezzled all that money themselves. The brother Adam Nana brings out another scripture, Wisdom of Solomon 12:24. For they went astray very far in the ways of error, and held them for gods, which even amongst the beasts of their enemies were despised, being deceived as children of no understanding. That's a beautiful scripture, man. There you go. You see that? So our people have been misled. They've gone into the congregation of the dead, right? Because our people loved not the truth, but they loved and had pleasure in all unrighteousness, right? Because they wanted to have a bit of power. They liked the logos of the BLM movement. They liked the logos of the equality movements, right? They liked the inclusivity. They liked the attention that they were getting. They liked that their organization was getting news coverage. See, our people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, as the Bible tells you, and they're being used to destroy themselves, right? And to ultimately, they're being used as a weapon against the rest of the world. Continuing, it says, actually, that's enough on that. Now, one thing I want to get into is that corporal, that military corporal who says that they've recovered a crashed spaceship and also the bodies, right? And one thing is that's a bunch of bullshit, because again, the chariots of the Lord, they're not physical like ships, okay? They're not made out of metal. They're not working off of some sort of a propulsion system which runs on gas or can fall out of the sky. No, these are spiritual beings, right? And we're going to read that right now. This is Isaiah. Where is it? Isaiah 31, and let's start on 1. But the point is in 3, but this is a very good part, right? So this is Isaiah 31 and 1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help. Egypt here is synonymous with America, right? Babylon, right? Go to the government to basically rely on them, okay? Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek Yahawah B'Shem Yahawashi, right? So this right here is first of all, it's saying that destruction is going to come to those who, instead of, and this is ultimately talking about us Israelites, right? The Negro, Latino, Native Americans, right? But it's saying destruction is going to come to those of our people who are going to basically rely on these Edomites, right? And their empire, their police force, their military, you know, all their grand, you know, power and everything, right? It's talking about, you know, destruction is going to come upon them, right? Because they've relied on these Edomites and not on the Lord, our power. And it says, verse 2, yet he also is wise and will bring evil and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of the evildoers and against the help of them that work iniquity. Okay? So right here it's telling you that the Lord is going to rise up and come up against these Egyptians, right, who are the Americans, Babylon the Great. And the Lord's going to come up against them, and not only is he going to come up against them, but he's going to come up against all those who are in his house. And that's talking about all these jakes that you see in all these government positions, all these people who are helping this Babylonian, the great system, you know, with the hospitals, the government workers, and all our people in the police force, the military. You're all going to be destroyed along with these Edomites. And it says, verse 3, now here's the point. Now the Egyptians are men and not God, and their horses flesh and not spirit. Okay? Saying all the armaments, all the weaponry, all the power of these Babylonians, the people who currently rule the world, everything they have is of materialistic origins. Okay, it's all physical items. It's metal, it's carbon, it's titanium, right? These are all physical things. They're not spirit. And it says, when Yahawah B'Shem Yahawashi shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that hopeth shall fall down, and they all shall fall together, right? Because again, we've all seen these videos where you have this little ball of light, you know, where I think it was like the Iranian military was trying to shoot down this chariot, right? This ball of light, and this ball of light is just moving around the screen, and it's like it's playing with them, right? And you see the tracer rounds being shot all over the screen, trying to shoot this chariot, and it was as if it was nothing, right? These military people couldn't shoot down anything. And then you have stories of these chariots going to the military bases, turning on these nuclear missiles and then turning them off. Or when these nuclear missiles are being shot, they'll fly up to them, deactivate, and basically shoot them with something and then deactivate them. Okay, so you see, and the planes can't keep up with them. They evade all the planes that are after them. So this shows you, man, that these devils, these Edomites, they ain't gonna have any power to come up against the force of the Lord. Okay, and why is that? Well, because they're coming at a power that's working in the spiritual realm, and they're coming at him with everything from the third dimensional realm. It's like as if you were to go into a room, and this room was basically fortified with a bunch of just rats, right? And these rats, all they had was toothpicks and basically lettuce scraps and stuff like that. And they let's say they fortified themselves in little fortress of toothpicks, and they set up little palisades of toothpicks. Like if you step on them, you may get a little bit hurt, but all you gotta do is kick it, right? But that's ultimately what's gonna happen, man. Is that the Lord's gonna come in and basically destroy all the armaments and all the power of Babylon the Great, because again, it's no force against the spiritual powers of the Lord and all the angels. Okay, it tells you that one angel can destroy the whole world if he wanted to. The brother Adamnan is killing it with another scripture. This is Colossians 1:9. For this cause we also, since the days we heard it, did not cease to pray for you, and to desire that ye might be filled with the knowledge of his will in all wisdom and spiritual understanding. Right? So there you go. See, so just like it was written to the Colossians back in this day, that to implore to the believers, the Israelites who were in that town, to understand that everything in the Bible is not a physical thing, that a lot of it is spiritual. Okay, and not only is the understanding comes of a spiritual nature, but also the force and the power and the essence of the Lord is of spiritual in nature. Okay, this is why these angels can appear and disappear automatically. This is why the Lord can give you understanding. When brothers say they have visions and dreams of them seeing angels, the angels can speak to them without even moving their mouth. They're communicating telepathically or spiritually. Okay, see, because this is a whole different realm of a realm of possibilities. It's the higher dimension. It's the fourth dimension and above. Okay, and us being trapped here in the third dimensional plane, we're limited to the physical realm. Okay, and this is why in that letter written to the Colossians, they were imploring the Israelites to not confine their understanding to the physical realm like these Edomites do. Right? When you go to Esau and these Edomites, these Caucasians, they don't get jokes. They don't get spiritual understanding. This is why we could be speaking to them right in front of them, to other Israelites, and speaking in slang and speaking in in our wise words, right? And they don't understand the shit that we're saying, right? Because why? Because they're too logical. They don't understand the spiritual connotations of that's given onto us, right? To them, everything is physical, everything is logical, and that's it. There's nothing else, right? This is why they're all science, no religion, right? All facts, black and white, no gray zone, right? See, this is just another spiritual mark of these people, man. So continuing, because now that we understand that the chariots of the Lord are spiritual, next let's go into what the angels actually look like, right? Because again, in that article, the video of that family from Nevada, what did they say? It was a tall, 10 foot tall, skinny, slender being. In the video, the guy says it looked like gray, green, blackish figure, had really big eyes and a big face and stuff like that. And he said it looked scary, right? But let's actually see what the Bible says that the angels look like. Okay. Now let's start off at let's start at 24. In the second Maccabees 3:24. Now, as he was there, present himself with his guard. This is talking about Heliodorus, right? He was an Edomite who came from the Persian Empire. Because again, remember, by this time, Alexander the Creep, he's passed on, and his four emperors, or his four generals, have taken over the world at that time, split up Alexander's empire into 4, and you had Seleucid go to basically Iran and the Persian Empire and took over that place, right? Well, by this time, these these men from that kingdom had now come to ultimately try to tax the Israelites, right? And because I think it's because they had to pay. I can't remember exactly right now, but I think it's because they had to pay for the losses of a war that they lost to Ptolemy down in Egypt. You know, don't mark my words, but he had to ultimately come up with money, and the only place that he knew where there was a lot of money was the temple of the Lord. So what he did, he sent his men to Israel to invade and basically rob the temple. Okay, so that's what this is talking about. And it says, because again, back then, the priests, not only were they the caretakers of all the rituals that were performed for our people, but they were also the bankers of our people. Okay, if you had to go on a long journey, or you had to make business deals, you would turn your money into the Levite priests, and they would hold it for you without usury, right? They didn't charge you any interest. They would hold it for you, make sure other people got it, or give it to other people, right? They were the bankers back in the day. Okay, that's why there was so much money in the temple. 24. Now, as he was there present himself with his guard about the treasury, the Lord of spirits, which is Yahawah, right, and the prince of all power caused a great apparition, so that all that presumed to come in with him were astonished at the power of God, and fainted, were sore afraid. For there appeared unto them a horse with a terrible rider upon him, and adorned with a very fair covering. And he ran fiercely and smote at Heliodorus with his forefeet, and it seemed that he that sat upon the horse had a complete harness of gold. Moreover, 2 other young men appeared before him, notable in strength, excellent in beauty, and comely in apparel, who stood by him on either side, and scourged him continually, and gave him many sore stripes. And Heliodorus fell suddenly onto the ground, and was compassed with great darkness. But they that were with him took him up and put him into the litter. So basically, he got knocked out, and he was passed out on the ground, right? So there you go. So these angels that appeared in the temple of the Lord, they were tall, strong-looking, very beautiful men. Okay, and of course, you know, if you don't, when you get into the other descriptions of God and the angels, this would be a so-called, they would look like so-called black men, right? And calmly basically mean fully dressed out in regalia and looking impressive. Okay, so that's what the angels of the Lord look like. So this thing that these people over in Nevada seen, these were more likely left-handed angels who ultimately would be what we refer to today as demons. Okay, because these weren't angels, right? That chariot that fell from into this guy's backyard, if that's even how it came in, that wasn't an angel of the Lord. Okay, so now that we know this, let's go into this, right? So see that this woman here is saying 666, right? She got demons on her. See, so the thing is that's why she's out here with her fucking titties out and everything. See that right there is what a demon-infested Israelite looks like, man. Having glitter all over her face. Basically, she's been ran through. Had demons put up all up in her and shit like that. And now right here, just mumbling 66666. Look at that, man. Our people are fucking destroyed, man. Wicked as shit, man. So speaking of which, and it's funny because I bet you she probably used to be something like special back in the days, man. But she probably went around, fucking partied up, fucking slept with way too many men, right? Gave herself over to fucking wicked ass guys, and those wicked guys put demons on her ass. And what did it say? Loving all unrighteousness. She put herself into that fucking into this state right here, and ultimately she's now being reserved onto destruction unless she rejects it. But again, what did the spirits on her do when she came back by here? Did she stop to try to listen? No, man. If you could have seen her eyes, they were like rolled back in her eyes, and she was just saying 66666, basically being in mumbling and stuff like that, man. See, that right there is what Esau wants our people to be, right? Destroyed and put into a state of a. Oh, I can't zoom in. Actually, I can. In a state where you're like that, just walking around, you know, without any fucking place to go. See, look, and that demon knows that I'm talking about it because that's why it's looking back. But you see, our people are done for, man. And this ultimately here is what happens when you're not spiritually aware of what's going on and you leave yourself open to these demons attacking you, man. See, look at that, man. Destroyed. And that's fucking just sad, man. That's enough on that. But yeah, man, it shows you, man. This place that we're dealing with is fucking wicked. See? The brother Adamana brings out 1 Timothy's. Beautiful. The brother brings out Romans 13 and 11. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God. See, so everything, even these so-called aliens, which we know as demons, they're subject unto God, right? They're all under His power and His control, right? So again, it's right now it's only these Edomites who are pushing forward this narrative that these aliens are coming from a whole other God, and you know, once this narrative comes out, you're gonna have all these fucking atheists and all these Edomites coming about, well, if aliens exist, that must mean that the Bible is totally wrong and God is needs to be rethought about. That's how they're gonna present it. Watch. Yeah, so there you go. So let's get back to this. This is Sirach 12 and 16. Let me see. It says, an enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. And this is the point here. If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. And though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. He will shake his head and clap his hands and whisper much and change his countenance. So you see, and the reason I bring that out is because, again, it's back to what I had said, that now that aliens have decided to reveal themselves to the world, they're revealing themselves here in America, right? And who happens to be the forefront? Who happens to be the person that these aliens are revealing themselves to? It's these military corporal people, these people who are working in the military, and Esau's his military industrial complex, right? He's bringing it out like it's a great thing, and they have all this information, right? And I've even heard some news reporters saying that this can lead us to a whole new world and new technology and new possibilities that were never thought of, right? See, they're gonna make it seem like this is a whole new thing that we can look forward to, right? But again, what is it that they're doing? Is these devils? Even though they're speaking about how, you know, they're gonna bring out this information little by little, and that, you know, ultimately all this shit is a way to entrap us and to ultimately destroy us. And how is that? Well, because if we believe in aliens, if we start going towards that narrative, then that in turn will make you will challenge your belief on the chariots of the Lord and the Lord Himself, right? People are gonna say, well, if aliens exist, well, that basically makes the Bible a lie. And why is that? Because what they're going to be thinking that the Bible's talking about is what these places, these churches are teaching, right? And it's super fucking easy to disprove what they're talking about. But again, people They're not coming to this argument with a solid foundation of what the actual Bible is. They're coming to this argument, to this narrative of alien invasion with the fucking sand foundation of the churches, right? Which is going to be easily to destroy. And again, this is how these devils, these Edomites, are also going to bring forward these demons and basically just destroy the world, morally and spiritually, right? So that way, when the Lord shows up, everything's going to be decimated. So next, let's get this. This is Revelations 12:7. It says, "And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven." Right? See, because this is ultimately what all this is about, right? Like the assistant for Werner von Braun, that doctor lady, Carol Rosen, I think that's her name, when she said that all these little things coming through, from the terrorists to the rogue states to the asteroids, and ultimately the fake alien invasion, it's ultimately going to be to weaponize space. And why is that? Why is that such an important thing, that these devils are pushing forward this agenda? Well, I just read it. Because there's going to be a war in heaven, right? And when it says war in heaven, it's not talking about like literally up there in the clouds with the little naked babies. It's talking about here in our atmosphere and in space, right? Where the International Space Station's at, and outside of there, where they're gonna put all their satellites, the whole Tesla's the SpaceX Starlink. Don't for a second think that satellite system is simply just a communications network. No, those Starlink systems, they're fucking a weapon system. Okay, this is why Elon Musk got through all that red tape and was able to overcome so many restrictions to put all those satellites into space. Because one is more likely going to be part of the beast system, but second, because it's going to be more likely it's going to be it's a weapon system. Okay, and that's why, and that's being set up right now, because ultimately these devils are getting ready for the war in heaven that's going to come. That tells you in Revelations 12 and 7, like we just read. Okay, so next, let's go and get this little part here, because one thing is that there's going to be, because all this is going to lead to something that ultimately marks these people, these Edomites, as something peculiar, which needs to be, highlighted here, right? This is Revelation 12:9. "And the great dragon was cast out," right? That old serpent. Now, who is that great dragon, that old serpent? The great dragon is talking about, basically these Edomites, right? The entire Edomite race, right? The Americans, the Canadians, the Britain, the Germans, the Russians, all the Caucasians in the world. These are all, doesn't matter what nation they're part of, what nationality they've attached themselves to. It doesn't matter what they say they are. If they're Caucasians and their line goes back to Edom, Esau, they are Edomites, and they make up the abundance of the dragon, right? Which was that old serpent, which are the how can I put it? They are the descendants of their progenitor, who was referred to as the snake in the Garden of Eden. Okay, because it wasn't a talking snake; it was basically a man who taught Eve all the wickedness of witchcraft and all that shit that the Atlanteans had known before. This was the progenitor of the so-called white man back then. Okay, and now that snake has now turned into a great dragon. Okay, it says, "And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil," right? The devil means deceiver, "and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world." There you go. He deceived the whole world. How did he deceive the whole world? Right? How are these Edomites deceiving the whole world? With saying that they are the chosen people of God, by saying they're the so-called Jews, by saying that they're doing all this stuff for freedom and for democracy and all this stuff, right? When they're ultimately really the terrorists, the true terrorists of the world, right? Saying that that they're the ones who brought civilization to the savages, right? Us Latinos and Native Americans, right? That they socialized the savages of Africa, right? The so-called Southern Kingdom, or I'm sorry, the Southern Kingdom, the so-called Negroes, right? That they deceive the world with these snake bites, right? All over the world, and they're going to deceive the world with this mark of the beast, which is the RFID microchip that's going to be implanted in your hand or your forehead, and also they're just going to deceive the world with this false alien invasion, okay? Which we're starting to see the very beginning parts of it now, or at least the very beginning physical parts of it, because again, it goes all the way back to the 80s, and even before that, when these devils started to put it in their media, when they started to give the notion of there being in outer space and there being people out there showing up and that they're little green men, right? But ultimately, those are the demons. And again, what's another great example of this is you have that occultist, Aleister Crowley, the Satanist, who came out and said today they know them as angels and demons, but in the future they shall refer to them as something else. What is that something else? Aliens, okay? And it says, he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him, right? So ultimately, all this is going to be for naught. All these Edomites who have put forward all these wicked deceptions and agendas from coming out on the news to say that they have these crashed alien spacecraft and all this shit, it's all going to be for fucking nothing, Esau. He's going to ultimately be destroyed, and him and all his power and all his people are going to be destroyed. And those who survive, all the elites who have managed to fucking steal enough money to build these bunkers or to be in the outer skirts of the world, when all this shit goes down and they survive the end time events, all they're going to be saving themselves for is to go right into captivity, because it tells you that once everything finishes up, the Lord comes finally back down to earth. He's going to bring New Jerusalem, which are the 1/3 of Israel and the 144,000 elect who were saved and were taken up into space on those chariots, on the true chariots, so that way we could basically be kept safe and be given those new bodies. That when we come down, one of our first jobs is going to be to go round up all these devils, all these Edomites, and put their asses into captivity, and that they're going to have continual employment, basically burying bodies for, I think it was like 6 months, 6-7 months. They're going to be continually just burying bodies of the soldiers and all the people who have died in all the places over there in the Middle East, where the Valley of Armageddon, the Valley of Jehoshaphat, is going to culminate and basically be the graveyard of all these soldiers of the world. So that being said, let's get this last scripture and then we'll finish this off. It says, this is Revelations 2:25. But that which ye have already, hold fast till I come. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessel of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. And I will give him the morning star, and that he that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. Right? So there you go, right? So now, because again, understand, Akim, you listening to these lessons, mine, the apostles, the other brothers out here, right? And you've been led down the right way. Hold on to this. Hold on to what you've been given, and basically, meditate and focus on this, right? Because right now, what's happening is the devil, Satan, and his demons, these Edomites, they know they're at the end. And just like when you have a furious animal cornered, what do? They start going crazy. They start fucking, making all this noise. They start doing all these things, and that's ultimately what these Edomites are doing. Right now, they're giving out all this propaganda. They're giving out all this wickedness. This is why you're seeing all these agendas going forward, right? And eventually what's going to happen is that they're hoping that it gets enough Israelites that they're able to basically have some sort of triumph over us. But also, what does the Lord say? Hold fast to that which ye have. And what do you have? You have the truth of the Lord, right? So don't get fooled by an alien deception or lies that these devils come from. Again, if these devils are out here and they bring out something and it sounds credible, remember, man, it's coming from these Edomites, and you can't trust shit they say. Okay? Now, if you have the apostles out here and they're all saying one thing, again, as long as it aligns with the Bible, because again, remember, this is the rule. This is the rulership. Okay? This is the ruler which you measure everything by. And if it's not according to the Bible, then you can't take it for truth. Okay? The brother brings out Ecclesiasticus 46:1. Yahawashi, the son of Nav, was valiant in the wars and was the successor of Moses in prophecies, who according to his name was made great for the saving of the elect of God, and taking vengeance of the enemies that rose up against them, that he might set Israel in their inheritance. So beautiful, right? So again, this is a prophecy that is going to come forward, right? It's been prophesied that we win and that these devils aren't going to come over us. But again, this is just my warning to show you that hey, we're about to see these devils come forward with even more of this narrative of an alien invasion, and that there's aliens now amongst us, okay? And they're going to bring this out little by little. But again, we got to remember, don't fucking fall for their tricks, right? Remember, these are demons, and that they're basically going to be revealing, and ultimately, this whole weaponization of space is going to be for one reason, and that's going to be to ultimately fight against the Lord, which they know he's on his way, which is why these devils are speeding up the time. So again, YAHAWADAH for joining. I'm honored that I'm able to give these words to you. And again, if you have any questions, you can always put it down in the comment board. But with that, let's go and give all honor and glory and praises to Yahawah, Ba'Shem, Yahawashi, Ba'Shem, Qadash, Barak Yahawah, Barak Yahawashi, Barak Yahawah, Barak Yahawashi, Barak Yahawah, Barak Yahawashi, Ba'Shem, Qadash. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and elders of the great millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, and shalom to the 1/3 of Yasharallah. YAHAWADAH for joining me, and I'll catch you brothers throughout the week for my lessons, and then I'll see you here, Lord willing, next week. All right, shalom.